Hi, I'm James and welcome to another video. Today we're looking at some samples I've been sent by Chris Long from Modern Mini 3D. Now these have been sent free of charge but with no expectation of anything back. It's going to be an open, honest review. Now Chris has sent me a number of figures. He sent me three, well, he sent me more actually, but I only painted up three of the British Infantry. Now these are in resin. I couldn't find them on the website, so whether these are pre-release models, I'm not sure. They are very nicely cast. I have to be honest, when I first saw them, I thought I didn't think a lot to the detail. But when they've painted, they've come up beautifully, particularly when I've used quick shade on them. Now, because they're not on the site, I can't really tell you a price. I would estimate they're probably somewhere between $3.50 and $5 Canadian, with Chris being based in Canada. They are 28mm, which is a lot of people's preferred scale. I generally use smaller, and we'll come back to that in a minute. The figures are intended as fairly recent service, probably from about 2000 onwards. They're wearing the Osprey body armour, carrying patrol packs, so they are usable in quite a range. They're not necessarily just a patrol, they could be longer range, so there is quite a useful thing with that. The figures were in the Mark 7 helmet, although to be honest, the Mark 6 is functionally pretty much the same at this sort of scale. They're carrying SA-80s, either A1s or A2s. They don't have the vertical grip that is seen on the modern TES versions, but one thing I do particularly like is they've got slings on. It's very rare you see figures with slings. The SA-80 sling, from personal experience, is absolutely brilliant, so I do like that touch. They're wearing knee pads, okay, so they are designed very much for sort of the rough terrain you'd expect in Afghanistan. Most of them are wearing helmets. One of them is bareheaded, who is wearing a PRR radio, that's obvious. The others may well have that, but it wouldn't be visible under the helmet. And the level of detail really impressed me, because they've even got watches and things visible on the figure. So I like the level of detail. I think they are really nice. They come cast as a figure and a base, which require gluing together. I found that super glue did the job really well for that. Although bless him, Chris had actually assembled three of them for me. So they're assembled easily. They painted up very easily. I've painted up three different versions. There's one in desert camo, one in the standard temperate DPM, and then I painted one in the most recent MTP. So they all paint up nicely. And yeah, I don't game in 28mm for moderns, but they are nice little pieces. I do really, really like them. We've also got, Chris also sent me what started the conversation, a DPV. Now the DPV came into service in 1991 and replaced the FAV, the Fast Attack Vehicle, which had been in service since 1982. They were used by the 9th Infantry Division until they were replaced by the Humvee. That was the Technology Trial Division in the 90s. They were in use in the first Gulf War in 1991, so the in-service date might be slightly out, because there are photos of SEALs in Kuwait in them. They were also used by other American Special Forces. I haven't found them used by anybody else. Interestingly, the reason that you've got the extension on the top is the DPV came about because the two-man FAV caused a problem with American doctrine. In American doctrine, the tow missile, which could be fitted to it, was a three-man system. Then the FAV came along with two. Big debate, and eventually they decided rather than change the whole army's doctrine, they'd develop a three-person version. As I said, they were replaced by the Humvee for non-special forces simply because they didn't offer the utility of the Humvee. They are now still in service, but they are gradually being replaced by the light strike vehicle. So they've got quite a range from a utility perspective. The version that Chris has sent has got M2HB 50 cal on the top and a Mark 19 on the lower position for the vehicle commander or the gunner. I'm not quite sure which way around it works. The vehicle, in reality, they'd be interchangeable. However, the way these are molded, they are that one way round. If Chris gets a lot of success, I would have thought if you speak nicely to him, he might consider some variants, particularly a toe-armed one, which might come in nicely useful. It's clean, there's no stowage, and I think that's probably a good thing. I think the stowage probably is best added as you build it, because then you can individualize them. The crew figures are fixed, there's no variation with them, so that bit of variation there. I've painted mine up for Europe. The FAV was painted up for Europe. It's probably going to get used if I ever use it. As I say, I don't usually game 28mm for Twilight 2000, hence the European cam on it. I'm going to put the statistics up as well for Twilight 2000 and 7 Days to the River Rhine. It's a vehicle that wasn't covered in previous editions of Twilight 2000 and isn't in 7 Days to the River Rhine. So if you game either of those, hopefully you'll find it useful. Be aware that they are unofficial statistics, but you've then got them, at least you can game with them. Now, Chris also did me a special favour. We were chatting about this online, and I asked him what scale it was because I'm looking for some 15mm favs for 7 Days to the River Rhine and Twilight 2000. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, it's a 3D print in resin. So what I'll do, I'll print out the ones for you to try, the 28mm ones, but I'll try printing it in 15. And he actually sent me 2 in 15mm. You can see one he said he wasn't 100% happy with. It's actually missing a tiny bit of the roll bars. To be honest, if that's what if you're unhappy with that as a figure, it's not the hardest thing to fix. And Chris just sent me that on top. There's also a couple of. He's also put with it a couple of spare Mark 19, so you could arm it with 2 Mark 19s technically, and it would probably be easier to swap at this figure scale. So I'm really pleased with it. The 15mm one is definitely going to get used on the tabletop. The others I'll probably just put it on display somewhere, just because I do like the infantry. I do have some more of his stuff to paint up and trial. I've got some special forces figures from the Second World War, some either commandos, SAS, or paras. You can work around to do plenty of variation with that. Particularly when they start wearing things like Denison smocks that were used by everybody. So I will do another review on them at some time. Hopefully you found that useful. I am very impressed by them. The infantry in particular, I think that you could go out and buy a mainstream manufacturer and not get as nice as that. The DPVs are nice as well. Tiny bit fiddly to glue together in exactly the right place, but then again you are only actually talking 3 parts, so even a klutz like me can do it. I just wish I could paint them up a bit better. I don't feel that they've come out as good as the sculptor has managed. So hopefully that's been useful, and I'll see you soon for another review.